So I've been a fan of Harley Davidson for as long as I can remember, but when I actually learned to ride one, I became obsessed. So I came here to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, to its home base to visit the Harley Davidson Museum to learn everything about the brand's history and its future. And there is nobody better to walk me through this jaw-dropping collection than the museum curatorial director, Jim Fricke. Well, Jim, before we get into it, I just have to say I'm in awe of this room that we are in now. Can you just tell me about where we're sitting?
So this is motorcycle storage at the Harley Davidson Museum in Milwaukee. Probably got 145 motorcycles on display in the museum, and another 300 in here, and a few more scattered around different places. And most of the vehicles in here were saved new off the assembly line. So that's one of the incredible things about the collection here is that the
I was
founders,
wondering what the stories were.
Yeah. So like in 1956, they decided to save that one. And the motor company sold its first motorcycle in 1903. They started kind of a formal procedure of saving at least one bike off the line in 1915. So from 1915 to the present, we've got basically new vehicles, and they saved a few in those first years and also filled in. So we've got one bike that's a 03, 04, and then we've got at least one motorcycle from every year since.
So even some of the ones from 1915 or 1920 are actually new and haven't really been ridden.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. So myself, when I walked into the museum as a person who loves Harley Davidson, who is really into motorcycle culture and just motorcycles in general, I got chills just seeing some of these exhibits. But I feel even if you are not into motorcycles, if maybe you even know nothing about them, like how can you not be just fascinated just walking through some of these exhibits?
You know, Harley is kind of woven into the fabric of America and vice versa. So I think more than half of our visitors have no connection to motorcycling, but they're fascinated by that kind of
the Americana aspect of it, and they're just fans of American history.
Yeah, and this is, you know, this is an iconic American brand, and I think there are, as in the 21st century, there are a lot of people who are just really proud of something that is made in America and has been here, been produced continuously for 115 years. I can't figure out how these guys, you know, the three Davidson brothers and Bill Harley, they were trained as, you know, mechanics and engineers, so it kind of makes sense that they maybe could make a motorcycle, but their genius for business and marketing was incredible. They started selling, we opened their first international office in 1914. By 1920, we were the biggest motorcycle manufacturer in the world, selling in 67 different countries. And so Harley's been international 100 years now. As you went through the museum, you saw, you know, that 1915 postal package truck. You know, they figured out first how to make and sell motorcycles to people as kind of personal transportation, but they realized we've got to do other things in order to make it through the Depression. World War II was a huge turning point for the company. You know, we got the military contract, and that, you know, really helped us build our manufacturing capability, and also associated the company with the victorious war effort. And post-war, when all those GIs came back, you know, they wanted to keep riding, and that's when, you know, kind of the outlaw motorcycle culture began to grow, which is, at least from a Hollywood point of view, has, you know, had a lot of appeal to people.
Speaking of Hollywood, I'd have to say that's my favorite bike that you showed me, is the Terminator bike.
The Terminator bike, yeah.
That was really cool.
The motorcycle is a character in the film, and Jim Cameron, the director, decided, okay, well, gee, Harley has this new motorcycle that year. The Fat Boy came out, and that wasn't a company placement, you know. He decided, if I'm going to have this badass Terminator, he's got to ride a Harley, and they went out and...
So he casted the Fat Boy.
Yeah, and went out and bought him, you know, in dealerships.
Look at that. James Cameron spending that money. I love that. And on that note, I mean, the museum really does an amazing job of telling the story of, let's say, the last 100 years. What do you think the next 100 years has in store for Harley Davidson?
It's going to be an interesting century. 12 miles from here, the Product Development Center, where they're developing all of the stuff that we're going to see 10, 15 years from now, and they're looking into the future.
Okay, so the future still looks really exciting, though.
Yeah, it's so bright you're going to have to wear shades.
I love it.